Hey, thanks for tuning in today. I'm Archie. So this is my YouTube channel. I got some questions about my HeliDirect pit mat here. I am on Team HeliDirect, and I'm wearing an FrSky T-shirt today, but I'm not on Team FrSky or Team Radio Master. I'm Team HeliDirect, so I have access to both. I have both radios. So this is my Radio Master TX16. I've flown a lot with it. Flown my nitros on it too. So a couple days ago, I released a video talking about the new Rotorflight 2.3 version that's coming in, the snapshot for it. In that video, I talked about how easy it is to set up, because in the past versions of Rotorflight, it's not been super easy to set up a nitro. There's just no way to sugarcoat it. It wasn't designed for a nitro. It was designed for electric. There's some videos out there. Jawin did an excellent video on how to set up the throttle and how to do some workarounds and get it to work. But with this new version, it's much easier. I also really find it easier to set up the electrics too, and I'm really liking the functionality of the electrics too. So I talked about how easy it was to set up the radio, and I want to walk you through that today. I am going to use the FrSky. I've just really found myself gravitating towards these radios, and I enjoy the top screen, and I enjoy the operating system. And my friend Rob Thompson, shout out to Rob, has made an excellent Lua for these. The Ethos, or the Rotorflight Suite for Ethos, is amazing, and it just makes the setup process that much simpler. So I'm going to walk you through it today, and like I spoke to in the last video, with these videos, I'm going to record the setup that I run, and I'll show you how I do it. Doesn't mean it's the right way for you. If you have a way, great. A lot of people run curves, and I used to. That was the way we did it. I used to fly. I started with 72 megahertz and pulling out the antenna. And, I flew JR back then, the old 10X, the magnesium case 10X helicopter edition, and then the 11X. And, those we use curves and set it up. But with these new modern radios, there's so much better ways of doing it. And I want to show you how to do that, and what I've went through, and just, made multiple versions over and over for the models, and Edge TX, and then I've went to Ethos, and as I've really learned the Ethos system, it's just so powerful. So let me just show you a few of those, and show you how easy it can be to set one up in Ethos. So I'll start out with electric. We'll build an electric model, and then we'll take and duplicate that model, and then turn it into a nitro. Now, I'm going to show you when I started with Rotorflight, and as I've kind of progressed in learning, and I'm still learning. I'm still learning and learning new things every day. But as I've learned more and more, I've kind of gravitated in my what I like has kind of shifted a bit. So when I first started, I had pit adjustments on trim switches, and I've just really found that I don't use those. As I've learned more about tuning, I guess, I've gotten to where I can kind of understand from the helicopter and what dampers I'm running in it, and what blades I'm running, and how my servos are tuned, and the overall combination. I've kind of learned how I can just guess and get close on the PIDs, and then I take them back and I look at the black box and I see what the black box tells me to adjust, and I adjust that. I don't really blindly bump the PIDs in the air. I don't remember the last time I even did that, so I don't even worry about setting that up. The Luas works great too. Occasionally, if I've got a new heli, I'll make a small adjustment or two, but it's just so easy. I just set the helicopter down, make the adjustment, right through the radio, save it, take off, fly again, check the black box file. That's my way of doing it, and I'm going to show you my way. So with that, it's really made the setup of the radio much simpler, because with this new Rotorflight Suite for Ethos, all the sound files are already included. You know, I'm not having to go and make different sound files to put on the Edge TX radio. They're already included in it. The event triggers are there. They're running off MSP calls. And, you know, it gives me a battery percentage. It gives me all those things that I really wanted built into it, and I can just drop the Lua in and do those. Because what I've really come to enjoy is running Twin as well. So I've run ELRS for a long time. This helicopter set up on ELRS. I've got a Fly Dragon here on it, and that's on ELRS. I run D500, but as I've gotten to really testing it, I find that when you run the Twin on race mode, you get a really nice feeling radio link. And you have to stay under 8 channels to run Twin on race mode. You can go on up and you get full resolution on the channels, but to flip into that race mode to where you get faster processing inside the radio from the stick input to the module, and that's where a lot of the processing power inside the radio changes, but it does have the limitation of running less than 8 channels, and you can't turn the radio on with race mode enabled. You have to put it on a switch for it to work, and that's where what I've done is I've come to set it on the arm switch, so I have it flipped to disarm. When I fire up the radio, it's on disarmed. I'm connecting the heli while it's disarmed, and then I flip into race mode and it works. So that's the way you do it. So I'm going to show you a simple 8-channel setup for an electric. Let's jump to it. I'm going to set the camera up here, get as good of, I'll clean this screen before we get going and see if we can get as good a picture off this radio as we can. All right, so let's get started. I'm going to try to do most of everything from the buttons on the radio, from the navigation buttons. So pressing this wheel gives me like an enter. Turning it is like a scroll. You have navigation buttons here. And then on this one, the main thing I'm using is this center button. That's the page over button. So let's get started. Let's create a model. I'm going to create model. We'll go to heli. Then I'm going to page over. We're running Flybarless. But sim pitch here, it's meaning collective. I want it to be on 3. I don't want throttle to be on, but we're going to change this. But I'll put throttle on 6. I'll page over. Name, and I am going to use the keyboard here. So test. We'll select the Rotorflight image. Page over. It's created. Okay. So first thing I'll do is I'll start out is I'll go in. There's 2 main things that I do and I recommend everyone does when you create a model. Go to trims. Turn them off. Turn the audio off. Off, turn the audio off, and do that on each one of them. So off. It's a little quicker if I use the touch screen, but it's messing with the focus on my phone, and I'm using my phone to record this. Okay, let's make sure I got them all. And I have volume on my transmitter set on this knob, and I have my screen brightness set on this one. So, okay, so that's done. Trims. Second important thing you want to make sure of, absolutely sure of, is that you have, and this can be done in 2 places. So it can be done global in the whole radio, or it can be done in each model. This applies both to Ethos and Edge TX. You want to make sure that analog filters are turned off, and they're sometimes called or they're called ADC filters and edge, but you want to make sure those are turned off, because the only time you'd use this, like I don't even use it on an airplane if I've got digital servos. If you've got old analog servos in an airplane, that's the only time you'd use that. So this will make your RC command in Rotorflight rough, and that will affect your P gain, that will affect your boost, that will affect your set point boost, and a lot of those will hit erratic and won't function properly if analog filters is on. So you want to make sure that analog filters are turned off. And it looks like we're good there. So I'm going to back out. Okay. We'll go to Lua. I've already loaded the Lua on the radio. So I'll go to Rotorflight. Turn it on. That's done. Okay. Awesome. You don't need curves. And I'm going to show you why. So the mixes. And I want these in order. Let's move them. There we go. And on mine, I don't like it being called pitch, so I put collective and do that. But yeah, so we've got ailerons here. That's fine. Got elevator. That's fine. We've got pitch. That's fine. Got rudder, y'all. That's fine. We've got throttle. It's working on that. We're going to change that. And then we've got bank, or what you could call profile, or what we call profile in Rotorflight. So awesome. We're doing pretty good. So these first four don't need to touch a thing. They're good to go. Throttle. So let's go ahead and add a mix. Let's do a free mix because we got to have an arm one. So I'm going to do add after rudders or yaw. And then I'm going to press the page button. It clears these. On top arm. Enter. It's always on. Source. I'm going to put on this back switch. That's where I like it. Okay. I do find on these top switches away from you, if you want away from you to be the max, that I do need to do the inverse of. So on source, I just hold down the enter button, call it negative, back out, and then now when I flip it down, I'll have the higher 2000. That's the way I like to set them up. So I just do the inverse of, operation add, all that looks good. We'll go to output. Let's get this on channel 5. And I use the same channel layout whether I'm running Twin or I'm running ELRS. I see no reason to change it. And it just keeps it simpler for me that way. I can copy my model over and just put it on either one. All right, so here we go. So we got all that set up. And with throttle, I don't like using this. I mean, this works great for like an airplane where you want to cut and hold and nose and the curves. This is kind of the old school way to do it. But what I do is I just go here, delete, yes, awesome. You don't clear its name, yes, awesome. Okay, let's add a mix, and I'm just going to do a plain free mix. Put that after. I should do it before it, but we'll go and fix that later. Not a big deal. Page over. This is harder when you're trying to look at a video, do it through the video. Well, awesome. Okay, throttle, always on. Source, right here. Done. Again, that would make this all the way up. I want that reverse. I'm going to hold the button down, make it a negative, back out, and I'm done. Output, channel 6, There we go. That is done. I said on my last video, but one cool thing in Ethos is if you're here in this screen, you hit the page button, you can see what all your mixes are doing, and you can see the directions of your switches. So I want it to be when I flip that switch away from me, that's motor on, come up, that's auto, come all the way back towards me, and that's off. That one's done. Let's go ahead and move it. Our profiles. Let's put a curve on that one. Yeah, I don't like that. And you can do the other instead of the heli. So, yeah, I find it easier just to do my own on those. But the first four, it's nice to have those already done for you. So we'll do it after arm. Go here, we'll call this profiles. So page over. Profile. Awesome. Source. SE. Seven. Profile. Got it. All right. So I've got 1 through 7. I'll create one more. Free mix. Put it in the last position. We'll call it cap for cap pack. And I put my capacitor packs and my remote glow on this switch. That's what works for me. You can choose whatever switch you want. It's channel 8. Yes. Active. Our mixes are done now. That's all we needed. Okay. We'll go to RF system. And to make this easy, we'll just do the ELRS module. Let me validate that. One, I believe, is what I use. Set up. Yep, D500. It's already there. Okay. Let's fire up helicopter. I've got a S2 Ultra right here on the bench, so I'm going to plug it in. And there it goes, it's connected. On models, page over, hit telemetry, discover sensors. When you hear that beep, it's written the date and time to the black box logs in the FrSky. Okay. And there that Lua goes, already reading everything off. Okay, and we already enabled that Lua. We've now set up telemetry, so that's done. We'll go back to our main screen. I'll tap on the right button, navigation button, goes to display. Tap here, change layout. I like full screen. Oh, let me go back. Change again. I'm just hitting all kind of buttons wrong today. Now let's go full screen. Awesome. There we go. Change this to dashboard, Rotorflight dashboard. The Rotorflight, so if you see this one, the Rotorflight toolbox, this is like if you want to create your own layout of a screen. And I used to, before, I would have like a screen for pre-flight and a screen for post-flight and that, but it's all built into the Lua now, so I don't need to worry with any of that. So just select Rotorflight dashboard, back out, and there it is. So it'll connect up and update. The cool thing too, this is the one that Andy made. So Andy and Rob worked together on these displays, and you can make your own custom ones too. The way they built this, that you can create your own within the tool. So the tool and the structure is there. You can customize your own and drop it right in your own radio and have your own custom display if you want it as well too. So, but with this one that Andy made, it smart calculates your battery. So you can see this battery is at 11.4 volts, and it auto calculates it to 40. So it's really cool. If you got a partially discharged battery, you can plug it in and you can go fly, and you can still have a good telemetry call out. Now notice this is a new model. 116 flights is pulling through on this S2. I've got 3 of them, so this one doesn't have as much flight time as some of the others, but it pulls it back off the Flybarless and updates it. So that's really cool as well too. All right, again, tap on System, page over, get to the Rotorflight Lua. And pretty much everything that you have most everything that you have in the Rotorflight configurator is here now. So like if I want to set up battery, I can go here, go to power, go to battery, and I can set up, this is 750 milliamp battery, you know, and I want it when it starts calling out 10% and then gets down to 0, I'll still have 30% of the battery left. And that's stored in the Flybarless too. So it pulls, the Lua pulls that over. All right. So when you look at this Ethos Lua, like if you go into settings here, you go into dashboard, you go to theme, this is where you can select the pre-flight, the in-flight, and the post-flight. And again, the AERC, I've got Andy's selected here. On the Nitro, what I'll do is I'll do a specific one for the Nitro, and you can do an individual one. So it pulls the serial number off the FBL, and it will assign it. So I'll select a Nitro model for those specific ones. And then when I hook up the Nitro, it'll flip right over to them. And it's really cool. And we are set up now. So this is set up. That's it. That's all it takes on the new Governor to have a model. So you saw it right there from the ground up. This is just the way I run mine. Thanks for watching this far. We've got through the electric setup now. I'm editing the video, and I'm kind of undecided yet on that 8th channel if I want to use it on rescue for helicopters like the S2, or if I want to use it for capacitor backup, a switched capacitor backup on some of my larger helis. And as I move through the video on this Nitro, I don't go back and put rescue on channel 8 and then start like channel 9 before was for black box erase. Release of 2.2 and now 2.3. The roll and erase feature on black box has really, to me, obsoleted the need for a switch. So in 2.1, you'd have to be mindful that your black box storage didn't fill up. And so you'd have a switch to clear that. And then you'd also have a switch to where you could turn on when you wanted to record and turn off when you didn't. With this addition of the roll and erase, there's really no need for that anymore. I just leave it on all the time. And if I want to pull the logs, I pull the logs. If I don't really want to pull the logs, I just leave it, and the oldest one will drop off and it will continue to record. So it's really cool, because sometimes you'd be like, I saw something in the air that flight, but I forgot to flip the switch on to record it. So that's why I really like this roll and erase, and I no longer see the need for that channel. But that's where we can insert another item like governor bypass for that. And so I'm going to put together an Excel sheet, and I'm going to put it up here in the video. And what that's going to show is, on the left, it will show the channel lineup that I used for 2.1 and 2.2. It'll show, third, the channel lineup that I will recommend going forward, what I consider the easy. And this is subject to change. Right now, while I'm recording this video, we're in the snapshot phase. If nothing changes, then I can leave this video up as 2.3 goes live. If not, you'll see how to create the mixes and how I'm doing it. So if you need to make some slight adjustments, you can. But with that said, as I go through this video, I've left out that rescue on channel 8, and I kind of shifted everything forward. So I'm going to put together a table, and it's going to show on the left, on your left, will be what I've used for 2.1 and 2.2. Next will be what I would recommend, the easiest transition. So just sliding over the one straight across and just swapping out the other ones. And then the next one will be what I'm running for Twin for 8 channels. And then over on the right side of that will be where I had shifted it up a bit in this coming recording. And that it would work perfectly fine. But I don't think it's the easiest transition from the 2.1 and 2.2 channel lineup. So I want to put that here on the video, and I want you to look at it. At the end of creating the mix, just select the channel that you want for it, for your setup. And you'll see by the table what I would recommend, and you can just move that to that channel and then be right there. So please enjoy. Let's move on to the Nitro. So I go to Model Select, Test, we'll call it. Oh, and that's something I didn't set up on the last one. I'm glad it did that. And this is not rehearsed. We're just going through it live as I remember doing it. And that's a good one to set up and check out. So we go to the second page, checklist. And I just don't want to check on throttle, because I'll fire it up in electrics in center position. So then we'll go to switches. There's only 2 that I care about, SF and motor on at this point. So this one we'll say no check. That's SA. SB, no check. SC, no check. No check. SE is the profile one. I don't care about it. No check. SF, I do care about that one. I want it to be up. And that's backwards. This actually should be down, which is back towards me. So that'll be disarm. So that's, and you can see here on the screen, it goes red versus green. So you can see when it's back, it's green. You know, we're good to go there. SG is the front one over here. We want that one also to be down. Flip it forward. It turns red, come back, it's white, we're good. SH, I don't care about, no check. SI, these are the ones on the back, the 2 on the back, I don't care about those. No check on SJ. Awesome. All right, we're good to go. So that way I'm being disarmed and I'll be motor off when I fire the radio up. It's quicker just delete this second model. Go here, tap, we'll clone it. We'll select this model. If I don't want to clear these, I hit enter, over. I'll space over one more. We'll call this Nitro. Okay, our analogs filters off. All those other things that we just did on the last one. So let's jump right to it. Now, what I'm going to start with first on this one is I'm going to build a basic logic switch. I'm going to hit plus on that. And I'm going to call this one bypass. I want this to be a AND statement. So I want this switch to be in the forward position. And I want this switch to be in the on position. And I'll select that. So now, and you can see at the top the green when it's, so now I can be right here with both these switches forward. So on my electrics, when I have this switch back, that's motor off. So now that works the same way on the Nitro. When this switch is back, I'm in idle. So that's good to go. When I flip it all the way forward and I'm on my profile 1 position, then I'm going to be in bypass, which means I'll have that collective to throttle curve that we talked about in the last video. That'll be active. Okay. Then if I take off in that normal curve, then I flip to profile 2, flip the profile switch up. You see this goes inactive now, so I'm in governor mode. Then come back, still in governor mode. I can flip down, be in bypass. The thing I like about this way of doing it with this AND function versus just putting it on a switch, because I tried it on a switch and I like to hit throttle hold. I like to hit throttle hold and just like do a little auto down when I land the helicopter versus putting it down under power. So I went to flip the switch and it's like, oh, that doesn't work. I got to go over here and hit bypass if I'm in bypass. So I do like this because I can hit throttle hold or auto rotation, and that still works. So this is my setup, what I found I like the best. Back out. So we'll go back to mixes. We're going to take this one that we were using for capacitor, and all I'm going to do is rename it. Call it glow. Create a free mix. We'll call it bypass. Got a page over. Source. This time on source, I'm going to select logic switch. Only have the one. Now we've got bypass. So you can see now this jumps over when either one of these switches are moved. It comes off bypass. And again, I'm going to set this up in FBL, so I'll assign that channel, and then I'll assign the value to it that makes it live. So we'll select output. We'll select channel 9. It's named it. So you come back here and you can validate it. Come off either switch. It's working there. So profile or throttle moves from the positions and it comes out of bypass. Okay. Create a free mix. Last position. Okay, so this is the idle adjustment. So we'll call it idle. We'll call it idle and auto adjust. Enter. This one we're going to do something a little different because we've got multiple switches. So I'll go to special, we'll call it maximum. Then we'll go operation. I want to replace with this. Then we'll go here to actions. I'm going to edit this action. And with maximum, it's always just going to take whatever values on the right hand side. So I'm going to change this to 0. This means it'll have 0 weight. Then I'm going to add a new weight and then I'm going to assign a switch to it. My trim here for the throttle on the left side, this is going to be, I'm going to go up. So that's left value LVU for the trim. I'm going to come to this side and I'm going to set this to positive 100. Add another one. I'll go down, back out, and I'll take this one to negative 100. I'll add a new one. I'll press up on the right side because I want to put my auto trim on the right side. So I'll press up on, I'll select that, press up on that. We'll make this positive 50. I like to use positive up, negative down. I like to use the same value up and down, and that makes it easier when I'm setting it up in the FBL for me. So we'll go 50. I'll add one more. Pull down, just like that. Pull down on it, and make this one negative 50. Back out of that. This is what it looks like when you have it there. Put the output. Channel 10, write it, and that mix is done. This is what I'm talking about when I'm talking about making the mixes. So we're going to do the same thing on throttle to where we get to that 4th throttle value. So we'll back out of it. Again, we can confirm by paging over. And now you can see that if I press up, I've got positive 100. If I pull down, I've got negative 100. If I press up on this one, positive 50. Pull back, negative 50. That's how it programs. All right, we're going to fix throttle. So I'm going to go to edit. I'm going to change my source. This time, instead of using this switch, I'm going to go back and I'm going to select special, maximum, operation, replace. And this is where I'm getting away from using curves. I don't need curves with this. I'm just going to use the value on the right hand side. That's what maximum does. And I'm going to replace the value. That way we're not getting any complicated, adding, or if something messes with it, I find it easier just to use replace. Go into actions and go edit. This time, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set it to where my default is idle value. And so I'm going to start this at negative, if I remember, at 63, but we can check. That's what gets me in that idle state that I talked in the last video of. So my idle is going to be at 63. Back out of that. I'll add a new widget. And what I'm going to do this time is I'm going to use this switch, this long switch here on the left, and I'm going to make that my throttle cut. So I'm going to select it. I'm going to pull that switch back. I'm going to go here. I'll make this negative 100. If any condition, and it's not in this, and there's no other conditions met anywhere else, this is now going to be going from throttle cut to 63. So 63 is our base. That's our idle. I'll add a new widget. Motor switch in the center position. That's SG center. We'll make this one 0. I'll add a new widget. We'll select it. We'll flip that switch forward. Back out. That's my 4 values. So now on throttle, if I'm right here, I'm at throttle idle. I bring this switch back, I'm at throttle cut. You can see it go to negative 100. So in the governor of 2.3, this snapshot, when throttle's at 0, I'm going to be at off. Flip this up, I'll be at idle. I'm going to throw this switch forward. Now I'm in auto rotation. Throw it all the way forward. I'm in motor on. That's it. That's what I set up for Nitro. So we went through the radio setup for both an electric and a Nitro. What I'm running for this 2.3 snapshot. So, you know, feel free to jump in. Of course, there's many different ways to do it. I don't like using curves. I like using those mixes in the way that I showed you. I think it's just a much cleaner way of doing the setup. But, you know, please like this video, subscribe. Thank you.